It's Watercolor
Hello.
Wednesday, but only for one of us because the other one of us is on deadline. So, 'tis the nature of the beast.
I'm just
So,
trying to remember what I'm supposed to be drawing with. Jeez.
it's apparently not Watercolor Wednesday for the other one either because he's got memory issues.
Memory issues. Oh,
What?
okay. Well,
You're like, wait, how did that happen?
I mean, I know I got some issues. I didn't realize they were memory.
See? Aren't you glad you have me here to remember these things for you?
I know.
What would you do without me?
Knit.
All right. I think I'm happy with nose wall, so we're just going to call that one good. The floor is ready. And now we're screwing up the wall really badly. But that's okay.
Okay, well, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the sun has just come out. Wow. The sun really did just suddenly come out of the blue. Quite literally.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I need to, like, we were doing fine until then. But now I'm all washed out again.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, let's see what we got going on here. The only problem is I turned on the brightness and it doesn't change the hot spots.
For your lighting?
Yeah, like it really doesn't change. Whoa. There we go. Okay, I'm really like... so part of the problem is I love my big sliding glass door that's right here. It overlooks the park. I can watch people all day long. People watching is one of my things. But the problem is that I am also in like a hot spot as far as this goes. Right. And so no matter what, I can only like bring me down to comedic levels of I can compensate for the background, but not the foreground lighting. So I end up with like these bizarre patches of skin things going on, which is very strange. Oh, I can be black and white. Look, I'm black and white. I'm like an old film.
Oh,
An
nice.
film noir. I can be super saturated.
Jeez. 90s wants their filter back.
Right? Exactly. I wish I had white balance. Like, that'd be useful. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be kind of... Oh, exposure. Oh, hey, there. That's what we want. That's what we want. Right there. Oh, good. Hey, look at that. That's extraordinarily useful. Phew. Now I'm not burning out the filter anymore. Extraordinarily useful. Oh, hey, that... And you can... Wow. I wish I could save all these settings. Because now I've got to... Because the problem we've got is this. If I use anything else, like if I use... what's it? Discord. It takes the priority of this camera. And then when I load up OBS again, OBS says there's no camera. So I have to unplug the USB camera and plug the USB camera back in to remind it where the camera is. Because there's no other way. Naturally, no one assumes that your camera is ever going to vanish. So naturally, why would anyone ever need to have a manual turn off and turn back on of your camera? So I have to unplug it and plug it in, which returns it to its defaults, which makes me completely washed out. Whereas this is actually lovely lighting. You can see really nicely the colors of my lamps behind me and everything. It all looks really nice, actually. I've got to change that flicker control, though. It's a little close to the frequency of my LEDs. Doesn't seem to make any difference. I'm going to make it perfect. Oh, man. Brent, amazingly, the bot beat you. And we're back to Russians. Dang it. Stupid Russian bots. But see,
Russian bots.
The color is nice. The lighting is nice. And it's all about gain. Or it's all about, not gain, it's all about exposure. It's all about exposure. Of course, I can also zoom in and freeze my camera. That didn't work. All I did was piss off my camera. Apparently, I can't zoom past 3, 4, 5. I don't know. Anyway, zoom would have been funny.
Just over here drawing, if anyone minds. All right.
Waiting for the sun to come out so I can adjust everything like it's supposed to be adjusted. It'd be nice if I had setting control. Like if I could just have settings set over here in OBS and just click, this is the settings, you know? Because this is great for sunlight, direct sunlight. I mean, this is probably the brightest it'll ever be. I have direct sun shining down on new fallen snow out there. So this is probably the brightest that it will ever be in my window. So what I will do is go over here and I will make a new file. And we will set Control S. Okay. Okay. All right. And then I will set this. And then the next time I'm in here, I will be able to repeat these settings because I like these settings. These are fine. Okay. Then I'm going to draw a couple of red arrows to indicate, Guy, no, really, look at these things. Oh, yeah. Wait. I can do that for you. Hang on. I have to fix my camera. But that's all right. We can do this. Brent is excited because he's doing work.
Cool.
Gesundheit.
Bless you.
Oh, hey, it's his webcam. So, like, straight up. Let's kick butt. Check this out. Hang on. Look at that. Can you see it?
I can see it, but since I'm across the room, it's very hard to make out what's going on.
It's here, let me make it big. Ambigonate it. That didn't help. How about this for ambigonate?
Well, how about I just walk over to my damn computer?
It's Brent's printer. It's Brent's printer printing. Like live stream Brent's printer printing.
Okay, cool.
I like Brent's mouse. I feel like I kind of want that mouse.
You can probably 3D print the mouse.
I don't want to 3D print the mouse. But I like things that blinky and light up. Like my keyboard's like his keyboard. See how the keyboard's kind of changing colors over there? Mine does too. These things make me happy. Stupid things. I'm easily entertained.
We all know this.
So, okay, we'll go back to where we were. We will ambigonate. I think I can ambigonate you a little bit there. Okay, I'm going to get back to work now. There we go. All right. Okay, back to work for me. All right. Okay. No. Oh, that's not going to work like I want it to. I had the sudden realization that what I really need to do with this shuttle is put all the windows in manually so that I can use multiple scenes, because there are other scenes that we need to use where we'll have to have the ability to see through a window and look through the window to the character. And I suddenly had that realization. I was like, damn it, I didn't want to do that. And so I'm doing that. Well, that's okay. We're getting there. So it wasn't what I wanted to do, but it is what I ended up doing. So there's that. No. Weird. All right. So I actually did sign up ultimately for Artist Alley for the whatever Tim's little anime get together is.
Okay.
So I had not signed up because I was a goofball. I mean, quite straight up. I just completely didn't do it right. And he finally texted me or messaged me and said, "Are you going to sign up for Artist Alley?" I'm sorry, Tim. Honest, I meant to. My problem is either. There is legitimately no reason why I'm having an issue with this, but I am apparently having an issue with this, and I don't know what the story is. So I don't know. I don't get it.
It's all right.
And George is destroying something yet again. So night before last, thought George broke something downstairs. So I was like, George, damn it, because it was 2:30 in the morning, and I was like, really, George, this is the way we're going to be. And I was like, all mad at him, and then went downstairs, and nothing was broken, but it was like this bang, coming from downstairs at 2:30. Next day, I get up and find out that a house over here in Westminster literally just exploded, just blew itself off its foundations. 2:30 in the morning.
Wow.
And here I was blaming George, and it wasn't George at all. It wasn't even his fault. He wasn't even there.
Wasn't even his house.
It wasn't even his house. Sorry, George. But I mean, to be fair, as I say to my kid, what are you training me to do, though? I mean, like, let's be realistic here. You are perpetually training me to believe that you are destroying something in this household. It's the nature of you being a cat. There's an edge there? Ugh. Blender is adding edges again.
Blender just wants you to be edgy.
As always. I'm onto you, Blender. Can't grab this edge. No. There. When in doubt, switch to a different layout. So there's a different edge. There's another edge there. That's so weird. Huh. Very strange. Very seized up. Here we go again. And I'll come back in a second. So how you doing, Pepper?
Oh, I'm doing okay for the most part. I am just doodling today because I'm waiting to hear back on stuff.
Right.
So, yeah. So I can't really do much until I hear back from someone on on a project. So.
And it's top secret.
Actually, it is. I have an NDA on it, so.
Yep. I'm still gonna make top secret jokes though. I mean,
Yeah.
I actually feel like you'd expect no less of me. You'd be disappointed if I didn't.
Yes.
Where is this? Where is this particular thing? What is it? Oh, I know what it is. I'm like, what piece of equipment is this? Ugh.
It's it's something from Star Trek. Something from Star Trek. It's my default for you.
Yep, it's always Star Trek. I already showed it. You just weren't here. You BRB'd. You burbed. And I'll bring it back in a second, but at the moment, I am still doing things. So, really. Okay, that's weird, but okay. I'm not gonna. I don't know. All right, you go out there. And we'll... And actually, I will show your printer in a second there, Brent. But I am going to finish this real quick. Just wanting to... So I noticed something about, and I'm wondering about this with, we talk about NDAs a lot. And I was thinking about this because I actually was talking to Ron Fortier about it and said, did you want me to keep quiet about where I am on various projects? And he said, we tried that for a long time, and what we ended up with was we got better publicity if the artists just openly broadcast all the time.
Yeah.
So he actually prefers when we post progress and talk about what we're working on. And he said it worked to our advantage more often than it hurt our projects. And I thought that was an interesting observation, because I think we, by default as a society, NDAs and don't talk about things and don't discuss projects and stuff. And I mean, I keep thinking about that too when I do things like world building on this. Is somebody going to steal all my wonderful ideas from Bellatrix Rising and use them in their own story and stuff? Here you go, Brent. And Brent, I am envious of your mouse. I'm just saying, I really want your mouse. I don't actually want your mouse. I just want that model of mouse. That's all. I assume that is a wired mouse, yes? Because I actually don't do wireless mice anymore because they keep running out of batteries, and I just go through batteries like water, and it's really nasty for the environment, and I don't need to. I just move my mouse. Like, most of the time I use a stylus anyway, except when I'm doing stuff like this. Anyway.
You were saying?
So, yeah, it was just, I found that to be an interesting statement about, how he feels about publishing information openly and stuff like that. And I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is, unfortunately, not everyone sees it that way. So
yeah, well, and that's fine. It wasn't actually like, supposed to be a statement of,
no,
a
it's fine.
condemnation or anything.
It's fine. No,
I just
trust me. It's fine.
Suddenly realizing it was an interesting, argument on that, to that degree.
Well, when I was in school, we had a whole entire class time discussing NDAs.
Yeah.
When I was in art school, and
Big
why you have them. And the teacher at the time that was talking about it was saying that you'll get them further and further in your careers because I was studying graphic design, and part of it they were teaching as advertising. And
Mhm.
apparently, NDAs are useful for advertisement because if you're coming up with an original idea of advertising or how to advertise for a product that's not being done currently, you don't want it done, because if you are ahead of the curve um, for it, then basically you are now setting the standards,
Yeah.
and some
Yeah.
people really just want to be at that level nonstop. So that's why you get them.
Oh, sure.
Um,
There is absolutely a good. Oh, good. It's only $35. See, that's the kind of stuff I like to hear. Thank you, sir. He DM'd me the link to
oh, okay,
his
cool.
mouse, which I'm lusting over apparently a lot. I don't know. I have issues. Anyway,
It's
I like
fine.
things with lights. That's just me. It's just not changed in my entire life. I apparently amongst my first words was "that's a light." My grandfather
Someone's
used to
trying to
remind me of that all the time.
get
He
a
thought
hold of
that was the
me. Hold on.
funniest thing.
Well, hopefully.
So, and apparently lights are a thing that make me calm and like bring my blood pressure down. Who knew?
Well, a lot of things can bring your blood pressure down.
Anything that brings your blood pressure down is good.
I thought someone was trying to contact me, but apparently it is not someone trying to contact me. So
It was me. It wasn't me. Just being a pest.
oh no, I figured that one out. I just let you admit it.
Hmm. See if I can't get more space out of some of this stuff. Squeezing just a little bit more space out of it. Just a smidgen more, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing, you pest? He's such a weird little animal.
He's a cat.
Pepper. Brent's like, I can try to contact you if you want.
Huh?
Brent is offering to contact you if you'd like.
For what?
We were talking about contacting. Like, are you feeling lonely over there? You want somebody to contact you? Because that's what he's saying. He's offering up. He's being nice.
Oh, okay. No, I annoy Bill all day long, so trust me, I have no problem contacting. Um,
Okay. I think that's probably the best we're ever going to get out of this. Okay. Export wavefront object. With Windows. There. I want to keep the original that I have. I have the original version without Windows, and I want to keep that version. This isn't as good. There we go. I feel like that's probably better. All right. All right. Turn that on. And you can go down to here, and we'll do the new raster layer with Windows. And I kept the old one, but I realized that without Windows, I can't do the classic character looking out the window longingly shot from outside looking in. I can't make that shot because the windows aren't real on the wall. So I went through and changed that, and that's okay.
all right. Alrighty.
I'll be right back. I'm not even really sure what's in it. Whatever it is, leave it alone. There you go. He's causing trouble. We're going to take a break and scritch him so that he'll stop causing trouble. It's a George break. Actually kind of likes being here on this. Oh, you can get the keyboard and mouse combo for $50. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, there are some weird things going on with my computer, and I'm almost tempted to say that maybe. Hi, George. I'm almost tempted to say that maybe part of my problem might be my Razer keyboard, because I noticed that there are an awful lot of keyboard drivers running.
Could be.
A good cat. Well, you're weird, but you're a good weird cat. Wish you wouldn't cause so much trouble, though. He seems pretty content hanging out here, though.
Well, that's good.
Okay, time for you to. I think that I've held on to you long enough that you have forgotten what you were doing, which is really what that whole point was. For him to forget he was being a pest. Odds of that actually working, pretty slim, but you know.
Yeah. Honestly, this is turning into what to do when you're preparing for Watercolor Wednesday type of
Right.
post.
I feel like part of our problem is you're not on shuffle. I'm like, why is it playing the same song slower?
You're just now realizing you have this issue?
Okay. Killing George again. Get back.
Okay.
What is it with you? Leave him alone. Stop putting in the sink. What is your problem? Stop putting things in the sink, you little goofball cat. Well, Goofball Cat's back because Goofball Cat can't keep things outside of the sink. He's knocking everything into the sink. Yeah, right? The George boredom meter is. It's like the George Foreman grill. It's the George Boredom grill. Right? That's what you are. He's like, this is my life now.
He's like, I was a king on the Nile. Now I'm a cat.
Right? I had gods. In Egypt, I had gods. Goofy animal. Man, George, you are really single-minded and making me kind of annoyed.
Is George in
needs
the
to finish
if
his work.
is George in the phase of any attention is good attention?
I don't know, but he sure is into the phase of I must knock things into the sink.
Ah,
He's gone
so
into he's gone into the kids' room. He can break stuff in there all he wants.
that will teach the kid to pick up his toys.
Right? We've been kind of having that problem recently anyway. Trying to get him to pick up his stuff because I'm like, okay, but the cat's going to mess with stuff. Well, the cat needs to stop. It's not the cat's fault. You can't blame the cat.
Well, the cat's a cat. Cat doesn't know any better.
Right?
They don't have they don't have the they don't have the knowledge that they're doing something wrong. They just know that they get to play.
Right? There we go. Could be provoked by unseen spirits. These things could occur. Provoked by, scotch or whiskey. You can't see it. And that's, what's causing him to act that way.
There's there's no problem with him reacting to spirits in that manner.
Right? Exactly. That's perfectly normal. I think most people react to spirits in that manner. Especially unseen ones.
Yep.
Good morning, Donald. Good to see you. Even if I am kind of making jokes. They are not at your expense. I mean, they're at language expense, but not at yours. All right, outside, inside, upside down. Just woke up. I get it. I've been down that road. Kind of wish I was down that road right now. Dang it. Having a lot of connection failure issues this morning. It is one of the traits that I have run into since the beginning with this tablet. And I'm not sure if it's the tablet or something else, but every so often there is just a hiccup in the data line. And so if you're making a line like this, it'll suddenly let go and then start again with a new line. And I have to go back and delete both lines,
Like you do.
And some mornings are worse than others. This morning seems to be particularly bad. I'm not sure what the story is. Yep.
So I saw the series finale of Arthur.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I am rather saddened about it, but I'm also disturbed
Why?
because Arthur has lived and grown and died after a very long life in my adulthood now as a
Yeah,
children's show. And I mean, because it started in the late 90s, I was
25 years
already
ago.
moved out by then,
25 years ago it started.
right?
Um,
I had already moved out. Was already living on my own and
yeah.
everything. And it has lived and grown and died in my lifetime or in my adult lifetime. Because there were times where it was like, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood going down. It's
Mm,
like, oh man. But Mr. Rogers started in the 60s, so
right.
before my lifetime. So watching Mr. Rogers as a kid didn't feel so bad that, it was ending,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Um, Sesame Street, same thing. If Sesame Street goes down, which it hasn't yet, but if it ever does, it will be sad. Certainly, I will be very sad, but it
Yeah.
won't be a trauma to my existence because it
Yeah.
started in the 60s as well, right? So, I mean,
Well, I think they ended it in a very clever way. Um, because Arthur was originally a book series for
yep.
kids. And it ends in a way where they kind of harken back to that. And I actually rather enjoyed it.
Well, that's good.
But what was really the kicker for it is them finding a video game with a giant squid that tells the future.
That's
Come
important.
that is important. That is a vital information. As Lori Beth Denberg would say from all that.
Yep. Yeah, but it was still, there are a bunch of 90s kids who, obviously you grew up on it. It was a thing and is way cool. And it all happened while I was an adult. So I know of Arthur.
I
But
mean, I didn't watch it as a very young child because by the time it came out, I was already past 10. So,
sure. But I mean, Arthur is a show that in theory, if I had gotten my act together, I could have worked on
yeah, well,
because I was already working animation, at that point, and I was already in field, so to speak, which is why it's so shocking to me, you know,
mhm.
something where you're like, I could have worked on that show. I was already doing, oh, yeah. I'm not worried about Sesame Street. I'm not worried at all about Sesame Street.
Well, I think the thing is with Arthur compared to Sesame Street, and this is the main thing I think, is because Arthur it's about children. And children grow up. And for
Do
25
not.
years,
Denied.
and for 25 years, Arthur has never grown up. Neither has his younger sister. His baby sister has always been a baby, and it's like the same formula for pretty much anything that started in the 90s if it's still on.
Mm-hmm.
Like no child ages. And I mean, same thing with Simpsons for over 35 years. the kids have been the same age, and like you can't really, after a while you do need to do something to shake it up. And I think with Arthur, since it was originally based off of books, they kept updating and updating and updating and updating everything about it till to make sure that the kids of now could relate to it. But there's only so much you can do before you go, okay, this is getting ridiculous. It's like veering far away from the source material now. And I think
Right.
that's what we're seeing, is it like it you can't create anymore safely. And it also,
Safely.
like, say,
It
when I
may
say
explode.
exactly, I remember my younger siblings, because they were young enough to watch Arthur, and they liked it for a very long time. But then their focus would lose Arthur,
Sure.
because
We
it's like
all
the
do.
same.
I mean,
Yeah,
under the same pretenses, I no longer watch Sesame Street. I mean, but I
yeah,
did.
yeah. I mean, and then you
Oh
hope.
wait, I've got a real quick deep cut for Donald. Hey Donald, remember Blinky's Fun Club? Just hitting Donald with blast from the past because I know he's Coloradan, Denverite. So anyway,
So
sorry.
no, it's okay. It's like
It's Blinky's Fun Club was a thing that was on here in the 70s and 80s. Um, and it was a clown, Blinky the clown. And he would sing the birthday song, and it was so cool because I remember when mom called in and added me, because with a name like Guy, you knew they were talking to you.
yeah,
Because if they were doing like, and John from Littleton, and John from Arvada, and John from Lakewood, and John from, it could be me, could be anybody. Mr. Green Jeans, yep. But Blinky would sing, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, and it was like a thing. And I was just like, and it was happy birthday, dear children. Happy birthday to you. And it was birth, BIRF. And I remember that became such a thing with him that they actually put that on the billboards. Like
hmm.
you'd drive along and there'd be Blinky on the billboard, and it'd be like, happy birthday. Remember to watch Blinky's Fun Club on Channel 2 at, it was like a thing.
Mm.
Mr. Green Jeans.
The funny thing
Sorry.
is you're saying all of these references, and I
They
wasn't
mean
raised in Colorado.
nothing to anybody who did not live in Colorado.
Actually, no, I heard all of these references as I grew up as a kid, but I never actually lived in Colorado as a kid,
Right?
because my dad would sit there and say, Mr. Green Jeans, and I had other family members and family friends that would say that. So I'm wondering now if it was just like just they visited Colorado and picked it up that way,
Right.
or it may
What
have
caused
been
them to
something
know
else.
something that is clearly uniquely Colorado?
Yeah, I know, because my dad didn't live in Colorado for very long when I was a kid. So
Although
um,
that might be a thing. I mean, like my dad kept referring to things,
yeah.
from Colorado years after he left. Maybe it was just having exposure to it.
Well, I know my dad's father lived here when because he was part of the Air Force that built the infrastructure buildings.
Yep.
and he and my uncle, his brother, both were on teams that built buildings for the American Air Force Academy.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of reasons why you would know
Yeah.
something classically Blinky. It was kind of sad. Blinky, apparently, the guy that played Blinky, he uh, he was working on after he left because the show ultimately was canceled, and I don't know if it wasn't canceled for any reason that was bad. It was canceled for a normal reason, not enough viewership or something.
Yeah.
But he ended up opening a antique shop downtown, like on Lincoln and Broadway or something, somewhere like really downtown.
Yeah.
And he kind of died in poverty. It was kind of sad.
Well.
And so, and he wasn't in good shape, and people weren't taking care of him. And I mean, he was old, obviously. He was,
yeah.
but it was still. I found
Yeah.
out about it, and I was like, "Oh, come on, guys! It's a Colorado treasure."
Well,
We should
you
at
also
least
don't
take care of
know.
him.
I I I hear these stories about like former famous people like getting like they die in obscurity and poverty and stuff like that, and it really does like irritate me somewhat. For some of them, like Jack Kirby will always like his story will always like be a problem to me. But like there's some like when you really dig deep, it was either family that caused it or it was mismanagement by their own selves.
Sure.
And it's like I can't really logically explain like that need to feel bad for someone who did that to themselves. You
Maybe.
know, I'm not saying Blinky did that to himself, folks. I'm just saying like there are some times where it's very hard for me to sympathize uh, with people who get into that situation.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. I think part of our problem nationwide is we don't take care of people with mental health problems. We
Did
cause a
he?
lot of mental health problems in our society just by the existence of our society, and we do
Did
nothing
he?
to help them.
Did he have mental health
I
problems?
don't know, but I mean, yeah, because that's what Donald's saying is he had problems drinking. He had a drinking problem.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And I mean, did he? Did he not? I don't know. Maybe he did, but again, that's the other thing is my mom used to work as a probation officer for Westminster.
She had a lot of jobs.
Yeah, she had a lot of wild jobs, but that was her. She believed we should all do community service.
Uh huh.
That was her community service.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I mean, like my mom was an odd bird, um, but she did a lot of work with people who were on probation for not glamorous or good reasons. Like it was some really nasty stuff they were into or whatever. And one of the things she had learned was they don't choose to necessarily get into that. That's not something that they just like wake up one morning and say, you know what, I'm going to get into drugs. It tends to happen because of some other outside force.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, she had a lot of, it wasn't sympathy. I mean, you have to get over it. You can't just, but she did learn somewhere along the line, you can't just say, well, that's, I'm going to get over it today. I'm just going to, we learned that one the hard way with my grandma.
I mean, you can say that, but then follow through.
Well, it's not that. It's sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
For example, I mean, as a good example, us with ADD, there's all kinds of things you can say, just get over it and stop being stupid and
Oh,
forgetting
I know.
stuff. But you can't.
Oh, I
You
know that.
really can't. You need outside help. And it's never going to, it's not going to just cure one day because you decided that this morning I'm going to stop being an ADD. Gosh, I wish that worked.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, I'm on Adderall, and that's the way that goes. And there is just, I have to accept that I will never be able to fully operate when not actually taking some kind of compensation for attention deficit.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to take Adderall, so I'm good.
Yeah. And you probably have a lot of the coping mechanisms that we run.
Mm-hmm. Well, what also helps is like when I was a kid, my mom was suggested that I get put on medication, because back in the 90s, a lot of parents didn't want to deal with the fact that your kid has something going on. And a lot of parents basically, that's when a lot of parents started going, well, we can give them a pill. It'll work, you know?
Well,
Um,
and I felt
and,
that way for a long time myself.
and yeah, and so my mom insisted that I never did it. I later found out that I would have had adverse reactions that were life threatening to Adderall. So it's
Yeah.
kind of good that I
You
wasn't
don't
given
want
it.
you don't want Adderall then.
Yeah.
But
I'm
I
also,
guess part of it is kind of the same thing that we're kind of. It's
yeah.
not for us to judge
Yeah.
whether you're
Well,
capable or incapable of taking care of
yeah.
yourself, and that's sort of what I have come to the conclusion of in my life. It's not for us to
Yeah.
make that judgment.
So it also doesn't help that a lot of psychological drugs have like the same base as Adderall too at times. And then coupled with the fact that I can't have anything lithium based as well,
Don't
including
drink
batteries.
batteries.
Um, you know, it's just,
You're like, I'm just sitting here, making snark. You're like, okay.
you know. But I mean, it all works out, I guess. It all works out. So I mean, I was talking to someone who I know works with children, and there's this one kid that basically is just so like the parents aren't really doing the job that they need to do, and that's equally frustrating for me to see. So
Yeah. But even that might have a viable explanation.
well,
You never know.
no, it's the child has ADHD for sure. The parent is not the greatest towards like dealing with it.
Yeah.
Basically, the child has demonstrated that they are definitely neglected on some level. He gets jealous of people in family situations, and the mother is a single mom, so it's not like dad's around or anything like that.
Sure.
It's the kid is he's young, he's not understanding of what exactly is going on, he doesn't understand these concepts, and his mom's not really making the best effort to make sure that she makes him feel secure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's rough.
And when you have ADHD or some type of thing as a kid, you kind of need reassurance a lot to kind of go, okay, well, yes, this is valid. You can feel this way, or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but you just can't do you can't do stuff like take a fork and stab a girl's neck, which is what the kid did.
I was gonna say, it seems like I've heard this story.
I don't think so.
Impulse control is a problem with us.
Yeah, impulse control is a very big problem. I mean, so it really is like one of those things of like, okay. So home life is not the greatest for him, but like there's only so much you can do before making an excuse is no longer viable either. And you have to kind of teach the parent and the child that there's stuff that goes against the actions of the child and the parent.
One of the
So
things that's been hard to teach my kid is that actions have consequences. That's difficult to teach.
yeah.
Not impossible by any stretch, but difficult. And they've been it's been slow going on that front. But we're getting there. We're just, whoa, hi there. You screwed that up really bad. We're getting there. It's been slow. But that's definitely a hard one. Your cat did X, Y, or Z. Well, that's my cat's problem. No, it's your problem. Why is it my problem? Because it's your cat. And because I can't really hold your cat to.
I mean, there's something to be said. Like, I do agree. All cats have Asperger's. I mean, they truly are the weirdest creatures on the planet.
They very much are. But I mean, what was my favorite thing that happened recently? Kiddo was playing the game and playing or on their computer and doing whatever, and then all of a sudden I hear, what? I have to buy Minecraft again? I already bought Minecraft. I don't want to buy Minecraft again. So he turns to me and goes, Dad, I don't want to buy Minecraft. You buy Minecraft for me. And I was like, what? Why am I responsible for your Minecraft? And it was, well, I don't want to buy it. It was like,
oh,
it was
yeah.
Really, it was like, and I mean, I literally started laughing, which made them a little bit mad.
Well, I mean, it is a funny incident. I'm on a parent level, I believe, like
it's
stuff
totally
like that.
a funny incident on a parent level.
Yeah. I can see why you're laughing about it. But on the kid level, it's like, no, I just asked you to do this. Why are you laughing? And it's like, yeah, you're not ready
like,
to be an adult.
Your own money? And it was like, I'm not using my own money. I already bought it. Like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm paying $50 a month for a program that I actually hate. I don't know what your problem is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's one of those difficult things.
Yeah.
Donald's talking about Donald got real beatings as a child, not just spankings, but just real honest to goodness beatings. And so he has a problem disciplining children. So he's become the all bark, no bite uncle.
Yeah, I get that. But also at the
And
same time, I am I am the uncle that no one ever takes seriously.
right.
So, like, after some time of spending with my nieces and nephews, sometimes I just go away because clearly I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm just not. I'm not doing it.
Right. And it's what I have learned, because we made a decision early on not to spank. And that was a decision made because research is showing that it's not that effective. It effectively teaches your kid to fear you but not respect you. So it doesn't accomplish, all it does is accomplish peace for the parent, but doesn't actually help teach discipline or anything like that. So, but
Well,
that
we have.
also, as a Southerner, makes it difficult, right? Because you and I, that's what we do.
No, spanking is done. It's not a form of a punishment. It's like basically there's several forms of spanking that are from the South, and I don't think I've ever seen it anywhere else. There's warning spankings. There's spankings where you get it because you weren't listening and you just scared the hell out of your parent.
Right.
There's spankings that you can get where all of a sudden, like, your parent is coming over to you and you're
The
like,
warning spanking.
the
I remember
warning,
that one.
like, like, and yes, some of these times you don't always get a follow through because sometimes just the warning enough of a spanking makes you stop. However, I have been on the receiving end and I have seen the full on beating spanking, and that's the one that is terrible for a lot of people to remember
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Oh,
Um, and like with the adoption process that I'm in, and I know I've talked about it in nauseating detail. Um, in order for us to be viable candidates, we actually had to sign an agreement that we would not use physical punishment uh, for basically that reason.
uh-huh.
It's and like there's like a whole discussion where they're like spanking, like they tell us like spanking's not really effective. There's other ways of doing things, yada yada yada. And they a lot of it was gentle parenting techniques, which is fine, but there are some incidences where I have seen people literally lose their minds over their kid and they break it. Like they break their vow of not spanking and they spank their kid. And again, this is more of my southern friends, not not my Colorado friends,
Right.
that do this. And the main reason is they lose patience.
Yep.
And
That's the number one thing, is losing your cool with your kid is always about just losing patience.
yeah, it's just it is what it is. I mean, sometimes you can repair the damage, sometimes you can't, but if you let it go too far, of course, obviously it's going to cause permanent damage between parent and child.
Yeah. Well, and I have managed to go quite a long way with my child without spanking him. So I
Hmm.
find it's been hard. It hasn't been easy. I mean, it's not like I've had the world's best time, you know,
No,
but
I'm not saying that I'm not saying that you would. I
but
didn't want to
as
make it
as we were
impressed.
saying, the research shows that it doesn't help, and that's panned out. Um, my kid has it's better to understand where my kid's coming from
Yeah.
than it is to make him, fear you or whatever. So it just hasn't gone over as well as I wanted to. The
Yeah.
idea of that wouldn't have worked with him anyway, I don't think. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, he would have just, because his problems that were developing were from spectrumy issues, and
Yeah.
beating on him would have just, the problem is that his spectrumy issues made it so that he didn't understand the social constructs that were going on. Damn it.
Right.
And so beating on him wouldn't have helped. That wouldn't have made him understand the social constructs any better.
Yeah.
And, so he would have just still been perplexed and in pain,
Yeah.
and still would have been confused, which I remember as a kid myself. When I would get spanked, sometimes the spankings didn't make sense. I didn't know why I got spanked. I didn't understand what was going on. Even when my mom would explain it, even then it still wouldn't make sense because I didn't get the social construct. And, a lot of things were presumed that we would have gotten it in context, and we didn't,
Yeah.
and that's part of it, was that we wouldn't get it in context, or I wouldn't get it in context. And so I would, we get to a point in our culture where we assume a lot of context is a given because they, the 11-year-olds or whatever, they should be able to understand all of this context. We just go through that. Oh, that didn't work. We go through this thought process that, oh, well, they're 11. They should get this by now. And they don't.
Well, it's kind
Damn
of
it.
like I talked to one of my siblings recently, and I was just like, I was like, yeah, I remember having these conversations like with them where it was my younger siblings, they were having problems with our father, and I'm like, well, maybe this was my fault because I kind of just went along with it, and this is what happened, and this is where dad's mind goes when you start turning this age.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no, he doesn't tell you. You just have to kind of figure it out, and you guys kind of, got a brunt end. I had to have that same talk. Someone had to give me that same talk. Like, this is what you're being expected of doing. Like, this is not something that you should, like. And then, of course, being who I am, I was told you should be understanding this. You're blah 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 blah. Like, I shouldn't have to be explaining this to you, which makes it 10 times worse because it's like, if I didn't get it before this, now you're
Right. And
blaming me for
I'm not
not
going to get
knowing.
now. And all you really did was just guilt me. I
Yeah.
hate that.
So
Oh, I hated that.
yeah. So it's like I'm right there with you. With that feeling, like it's, and then on top of that, like, you now have to explain it to your younger siblings because, of course, they're not willing to do that whole entire conversation again. So you now have to step on from, like, in my case, like, it was kind of like,
Those
okay,
are
well, this is now a more parent role. This shouldn't be a older sibling role to take,
right.
to have to explain this. But at the same time, like, it's just, it's difficult. It's not an easy thing, I guess.
Yeah. Not for the weak-willed.
No.
As parenting is not for the weak. Whoo, doggy. With Windows. Okay. Hated nose and corner timeouts. Ugh. Brutal. Oh, I know why I'm having stalls.
You forgot to put the horses to pasture?
Yes. It's been stalling out all morning and everything is acting really funny. And last night, a friend of mine asked me if I would Photoshop something, and I needed to ask a question. So Photoshop is still running down there in my sys tray, along with Creative Cloud.
I'm
So
sorry.
that's why my computer is being particularly cranky this morning. Not you.
It's
That's why.
alright. I know it was me.
Well, I was talking to Alexa, but okay.
You should have Alexa change her name.
Right. All right. Back to here. I did have Alexa change her name
You did?
to
Is
computer.
it Bob's your uncle?
I changed it to computer. I do. And I'm not changing it back. That's the way it works. That's why two parents are better than one. Agreed. Import with Windows. Accept it. Please don't be broken. That's all I ask. Sigh.
Duck?
Somehow it has selected the wrong stupid thing again. Oh, that's because we reopened Blender. Export. Wavefront object. Selection only. People are like, why don't you close programs between stuff? And I'm like, this is why. Because I will forget to click the little check mark that says only export the thing that's selected. And by default, that's always unchecked in Blender. Looks like all the windows are correct, but it still looks a little funky. Like there's some funky stuff going on here. Some
Such
funky
as
town.
cheese. Sounds like cheese.
Yeah.
Funky cheese.
Nothing worse than funky cheese. I'm just saying. As you aren't familiar, nothing worse than funky
Hey,
cheese.
funky cheese, macaroni and cheese could be good as an adult. To a child, not so much.
Yeah, not so much. There we go.
Oh, so hopefully today we will get our car back.
And your car's gone? See,
Yeah.
we don't even know the story. You know.
Yeah, so this past I want to say Monday or Monday. No, Sunday. Our car broke down. It wasn't accelerating, and all of a sudden we lost complete engine power.
Wow.
Um
That's dramatic.
and I was trying to get off. I was trying to get off the off onto the side of the road, and I ended up accidentally getting onto the highway.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, so I'm on I-25 and coming off of, because I live in Loveland now, I'm like getting off on I-25. I'm getting onto I-25 going 20 miles an hour and dropping.
Yeah, it would make me mad. I'd be like all mad at
Um,
you. I'd be like giving you the finger. I wouldn't really, but
yeah.
in my
Well,
head I would.
the car gave me a finger, all right, and I'm happy that I didn't cause any accidents.
There we go. That's
But
much
I
better.
was like driving, and again, something electronic went wrong with the car, as all problems with electrical seem to always happen with me, even though I may have not have done anything. It just seems to happen that way, folks. I am not an electrical person.
You're an electrical nightmare.
Yes, I am. I have broken so many electrical objects just by touching them. including 4 vacuums, according to my stepmother.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Hey, if I would be blamed for that, I probably would.
Right?
Um,
Vital.
well, welcome to an ADHD upbringing
Right?
with no medication and being blamed for everything.
You
Scapegoat,
got
the
it.
kid with the mental problems. Yep. Anyways,
That's the story of our lives, literally.
yeah, so we get onto the thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to pull over. I pull over successfully, and then the car seems like it gets in gear for a little bit. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe we can just get to the next exit, pull off, do all of that, and we should be good. No, nope. It starts dropping yet again. There's nothing we can do. It's very scary because we are on a part of the highway that literally has this really, really tiny shoulder because of the construction work.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was just through that area. Yeah, that's a rough area, man. Feel that.
So we had a police officer pull over. He was like, I'm gonna get. So the police officer like that pulled over, like he's like, I'm gonna get a courtesy tow, so you guys are off the highway. So we got the courtesy tow to a parking lot off of I-25 and in Loveland.
You have sparkling personality, Pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
You're like, no.
if I like to say this in full disclosure, if anyone met me as a child after meeting me as an adult, you would not say that. Most people actually said I was a spoiled, rotten brat, and
I still think
people
you're a
made
spoiled rotten brat, right? I mean,
well,
right?
a lot of people still do. A lot of people still do.
You're just saying. You're just saying.
Talk to my sisters. Like some of them still think that I'm a spoiled rotten brat. It's all right. I feel the same way about them. It's all good. It's called sibling love.
What is this, Jane?
But we got off to the side of the road, and we ended up. We found out that our insurance actually would pay for a lift for us.
That's remarkably useful.
I know, right? Our car got towed to a dealership that was authorized to repair it. And luckily, we got the extended warranty on our car,
Right.
so everything was covered. So, so I'm happy.
That's your story.
Yeah, that's the story of the car. But I made a comment to Bill that had we not had that coverage, there was a chance that I would have not have been I went to this event that one of the companies I work for has in Orlando. I probably wouldn't have been able to go because we would have had no car.
Uh-huh. You're gonna drive your car to Orlando?
Well, I'm weary of flying right now. That's all.
Okay.
I'll leave it as that. I flew a bunch last year, and every single time I flew, I was always worried that I got COVID.
Yeah, I don't blame you. You're not alone. My mother-in-law is really big on that right now, and I don't blame her.
I mean, I'm not saying that I did. Like, it's just, and then on top of that, I've had family members that have passed away from it. I have family members who have now gotten it for like multiple times.
Oh yeah.
And like everyone's just like, oh well, I mean that shouldn't stop you. And I'm just like, there's other reasons why I don't want to go to Florida too, and that is
Why
I just
compound it?
yeah. There's other personal reasons why, and I'm not going to go into those discussions because that is very personal of the reason why I don't want to go right now.
I got nothing, man. You do
Yeah.
you, boo.
But no, I'm just saying, like, to everyone else, not just you.
I get it.
I'm
I'm not.
directing it.
I'm not. You can tell me what you want to say or not, as you see fit.
Yeah. So I just yeah. So I'm just gonna sit here and paint. I hope everyone's
Before you
been enjoying.
accidentally say what you don't want to say anyway, because I know
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
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 And you'll
Yep.
end
Yep.
up saying it anyway, and then we'll be like, "Well, Pepper, didn't you say you didn't want to say? Shut up! I didn't mean to."
Shut up. Didn't mean to.
Like, damn it!
And that's the other problem with ADHDers. I don't know why, but like as a kid, it's 10 times worse because it's
Oh
like you
yeah, it
can
is.
never keep a secret as an
Nope.
ADHDer
And
because like
you want to so badly, you really do, and you're
yeah,
just like, and then you end up saying it anyway, and you're like,
yeah,
really, mouth? That was your
yeah.
battle plan? Like, this was your plan all along? Get her?
What did the cat do now?
Oh, nothing. I was just like, that's ADD, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, our battle plan apparently was to just blab. That was our battle plan. This was our entire battle plan, apparently, And you're like, really?
Oh yeah. My mom got pissed at me out on one Christmas because she basically was like, "You ruined my gift to your sister when she got a new bike." And I was just like, all I said was Santa Claus was outside and left something for you. That's all I said. I didn't say what it was. My sister was still surprised,
Right?
but yet I ruined Christmas.
Well, it's so funny because these things stick with us so much, mostly because I think we grasp that we screwed it up.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I screwed it up. I think what
I
it
know,
was
but I mean, we
was
grasp that we screwed stuff up. Like we grasp
well, yeah.
that things were messed up, and so they'll stick with us because we feel guilty, even if we weren't responsible. Like,
Well, yeah, and it's like I have siblings who are worse blabbermouths than me. Like
sure,
totally, and I have one sibling that will twist the words told to them to suit their needs as well. So it's
yeah,
like, whatever. It's your deal, not mine.
I
At
have
this
one
point.
sibling. That's what
Yeah, that would be the life. One sibling to deal with, that would be amazing for me. Like I don't mind not like I don't mind having siblings. My problem is I have
slaps giving.
7 of them. I have
Oh
7 of
man, you
them.
just said slaps giving, man. That's awesome. I haven't heard slaps giving in a long time. That's a How I Met Your Mother reference.
I never could get into that show.
Yeah, I loved it. It was fun.
I mean, I like Neil Patrick Harris, don't get me wrong, and I like seeing the
Sure,
How I Met Your Mother like tidbits, but I could never get through a full episode without getting bored.
that's fine.
No,
You don't have to.
no I'm just
Yeah,
again, this is me
there's nothing wrong
saying,
with that.
yeah.
And I don't feel like you're doing the well, and all you people who love it suck or anything like that. You're being fine. No, don't do that.
I mean, I like the actors on their own too. So
Sure. Allison
I
Hannigan.
mean, Allison Hannigan went on to actually do something with Girl Scouts. So
Are they made with real Girl Scouts? Was it made with real Girl Scouts?
it's a cooking competition
I'm
with Girl
just,
Scout cookies involved.
yep. It's just funny. The Magnificent Seven siblings.
Well, you're about right.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. Again, I described my siblings and my family the other day, and someone was like weirded out because they'd never heard of a family that operated like that.
Eh. There's no way that there's nothing new under the sun. So
Well, it's like when you sit there and you tell someone like you have seven siblings, and then they're like from a smaller family, and they're like, I couldn't even imagine. And
yeah,
I'm like, yes, you have no private life. Thank you. It's
but
like
the
when you
thing,
get one. It's like when you get one child and you strive for some type of privacy.
right? It's one of those things that your family isn't strange. It's just that we haven't had the likes of that in a very long time,
Mm, yeah,
because the world kind of changed in the early 1900s. And that's really what it boils down to. And we can all
yeah,
sit here all day long and say, that's so strange. But the truth is, it's not. My grandfather was one of 12 siblings. And I mean,
yeah,
that was normal in the 1800s, 1900s. That was fine. So it's just a
yeah.
matter of people
Well,
don't realize that that's the way it used to be. And okay, it's kind of like,
yeah,
well, that's fine, but it was, and all is good, and there's nothing strange about it. It's, you know, your family are not a bunch of aliens or something.
yeah. Well, it's usually followed up with what religion were you were
Yeah,
when you were a
because well, and
kid.
that makes also to some degree a little bit of sense.
Yeah, it does.
Because like,
Um,
well, you must be Christian or whatever, super Christian, because that's what super Christians apparently do.
yeah, and like my mom's father, he was the youngest of 10 kids or 9 kids, something like that. And my grandmother, she had four siblings on my mom's side. So my mom's side was actually a relatively large family, and my dad actually came from a smaller, close knit family. Like I think the most my grandfather had two brothers, and my mom and my grandmother only had a single brother. So they were much smaller, but their parents came from larger families.
Right.
So, and I don't like I remember my dad like talking like he really just liked the notion of having large families when I was a kid.
Sure.
Um so yes, folks, all of the children belong to my father, not my mother.
What?
So
That
all
that
the
made.
children, all the children, all my siblings belong to my father. Not all of them belong to my mother. I only share three siblings with the same mother.
Oh, okay. I was like, that sounded like you didn't have any siblings, or you had different mothers, which you did. That is exactly what
No,
you said.
that is exactly true.
Yeah,
Some of
that
my
is exactly
siblings
what you said.
do actually have a different mother.
That's totally
So
cool. That's what my dad's family was.
yeah.
He didn't know about it, but that's what it was.
Well, I mean, it does complicate things a little bit.
Yeah,
You
it
hear
does.
things about the interpersonal relations with your parents, and you kind of have to deal with it. You know,
Yeah.
it is what it is with that, and you learn that you don't want to do that with your own family.
What did you learn, Pepper? I learned not to do that. That's what I
I
learned.
learned not to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, and at one point in my life, yes, I did actually, in fact, plan to have like 11 children, but
11 million children.
um,
11 children.
we actually no, I actually had like 11 names picked out, and one of them was Pixie Willow. I was with someone who was a hippie. Okay,
Yeah. Hey, I
um,
understand that one.
so and
You
that
have
was
met
that
you
was the
have met
down.
the aforementioned hippie. She's a lovely individual. I'm very fond of her.
Yes, your hippie did not turn out like my hippie.
No,
So
and hippies
I
love.
and I like your wife very much.
Yes, she likes you too.
So
We had a lovely dinner, and we went over there, and they cooked, and it was great. We hung out, and it was a wonderful evening. Really, actually, really was very nice.
well, I mean, I
I
think
mean, said not like I was surprised that it would be. I mean, but it was a very lovely evening.
well, it was a lovely night and it wasn't snowing.
Right?
It
In a
wasn't
way, that's kind of
cold.
all we really ask. In a way,
You know, it's I gotta love Colorado weather right now.
all right. All right, now it's just brutally cold.
Yeah.
My kid is
Well,
becoming a certified Coloradan right now.
does he have to walk in the snow?
Yep, he has to walk in the snow.
Is he complaining about
Uphill,
it?
both ways.
Oh, both ways. So now he actually has the I had to walk in snow up to my ankles and
Uphill,
then it
both
went
ways.
uphill both ways.
We enjoyed it.
I threw snowballs at trucks.
It's actually really funny because the school, a couple of days ago, school canceled because it was snowing last week or
Uh-huh.
whatever. And it was so funny. The people on 9 News were coming unglued. They're like, when I was a kid, we went to school every day when it snowed or not, you know. And I was like, okay, but though true, my mom also went through 4 cars, you know,
Yeah.
because though that is true, we did go to school come rain or shine. She also got into a lot of wrecks that were very expensive. And we
And
only remained.
just because you wreck a car doesn't always mean that you're going off the hook of the loan. It's like
Right.
sometimes you,
And that was one of them. We wrecked one car and she had to pay for the loan for the remainder of the duration. It was just like, oh man, that's brutal.
yeah.
And it was, and it was because back then, that's true. You did not, in fact, decide to not go to school. You just went to school and it was in the middle of a snowstorm and you'd slide and then you'd hit something. And it was like,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, it's kind of like everyone's like, "Oh, well, you guys don't have to deal with snow in Florida." And it's like, "No, when I was growing up in Florida, we had the wonderful wonderful thing called hydroplaning,
right.
which is like sliding on ice." And
Hydroplaning. I'm not as worried with hydroplaning as long as I've got there's a special kind of tire that I like to have when I'm in wet environments.
yeah,
It's a really great tire. It's got channels in it that pushes the water out.
I
So
know
that
which tire you're talking about. It's very
God, I love
popular in
those.
Florida.
They're my favorite
Um,
tires.
yeah, well, and so when I came here, everyone's like, you're comfortable driving in the snow," and I was like, well, the way that I'm taking it as like driving in heavy rain in Florida, and they're like, "Oh, well, this is nothing like rain." I'm like, "You've never driven in Florida rain."
Well,
Like,
and I mean, I can see that argument, like, oh, it's not real rain. Oh, okay, but or it's not real weather. But
yeah,
rain can be just as nasty. And mom used to say that she wasn't as nervous in snow as she's ever been in rain. And I thought that was an interesting argument because snow makes me really nervous.
well, the thing is with rain, what makes it more dangerous, in my opinion, than snow, is the fact that it's wet. Like
Just
snow is wet. Snow is wet. I get that. Okay, snow is wet, but it most of the time snow is fluffy. Okay, it is not like, it's not water droplets. And if snow doesn't soak into the ground right away and cause flooding, then yes, I'm going to be more afraid of rain in those instances, because clearly the rain is going to flood faster, that type of deal.
Sure.
And unfortunately in Florida, since a lot of ground in Florida was basically irrigated swamps, so that you could put houses and you can put farms and you can put all of this stuff in Florida.
Not to be confused with irritated houses.
Yeah, not to be confused with that. You have like this really weird blend of stuff that basically a lot of people when they move from up north into say Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Louisiana, and some parts of Texas who get a lot of heavy rain, um, they don't realize like the tropical like weather that occurs there is like going to Maine and expecting it to be the same type of snowy weather in Colorado in Maine.
Yep.
But in Maine it's actually a lot worse for snow.
I don't know, because I have noticed a lot of people, like in Japan, I noticed that it wasn't as bad. And I don't know if their public works were different because, of course, they had monsoon seasons, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so it was brutal. I mean, it was brutally
Yeah.
raining. So, but I don't, now that I think about it, I'm like, I don't know why it wasn't, because I was driving a ridiculously light vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And like the car that I drove was just stupid light because it was a K car.
Okay.
And that's the K cars are specifically designed to be yeah, they have to fit inside 11 feet by 5 feet by 6 feet.
Yeah.
And they have to have a 600 cc or less engine. And then you get these special yellow plates. And the yellow plates allowed you to park in certain parking spaces that were closer and would allow you to be on the expressways without paying tolls.
Uh-huh.
So the or a lighter toll. I think it was a lighter toll. But anyway, it was beneficial. They made it very beneficial to drive these smaller, lighter, more fuel efficient cars. But they were really light. Like 4 of us could lift one of those things and move it around.
Yeah.
They were not heavy vehicles. And I never really had a problem driving in Japan in the rain, in monsoon weather. Like so
Right.
much rain coming down that the windshield wipers at fast speed only gave you a bare glimpse of what was going on, sort of things.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, that
kind of
kind of
like what I
stuff
grew
I've
up
never
with.
seen because
Yeah.
I'm a Coloradan.
Yeah. I grew up with that.
Right. Right.
I
That's like
grew
the
up with
stuff you
that.
get in Florida, the stuff you get in like, the East Coast, Southeast Coast, and stuff like that. Not stuff you get here in Colorado. So, I mean, I'm extra nervous driving around in this because I'm like, this is weather I've never experienced before. It's like, but I didn't seem to have like, there weren't real problems with um, specifically having any problems with, accidents or anything like that. It seemed like everything was still pretty decently, really, really, sorry, really having problems. Everything was relatively fine. I mean, it's interesting now that I think about that. Why don't you take
Well,
this?
it also could be that you're just a good driver.
Maybe. I mean, yes.
I've
True.
never ridden in your car with you, so I can't say otherwise.
Well, that's nice. I like your presumption.
It's
Well,
like,
actually, I was a driving instructor, so actually, I am a good driver. But still, I like your presumption anyway.
yeah. Okay. All right. I think I'm done.
Yeah, I'm almost ready to give up here. We've got about 4 minutes left in the show. You really do a good job of working in pretty much exactly 2-hour blocks, I've noticed.
A lot of practice.
Yeah, like perfect 2-hour blocks. That's kind of funny. I, on the other hand, will be working on this for a while. The hope
Oh,
is
good.
that I will actually be putting pages to paper by the end of the week. I actually was talking to my wife about this, and I was like, I really don't want to give up on Monday. You know, we knew, because she was saying, don't stress it. You knew that this was going to, that you weren't going to be, you weren't, that this was an experiment and we were in, and I was like, yeah, but I also don't want to give up right on Monday, you know? So I'm going to continue pushing as if I'm behind the gun.
Well, I am getting off of my other
High
camera.
horse. Oh wait.
Coming back over here.
So anyway, I actually do think, all jokes aside, I'm pretty sure. Well, see, that's a lovely piece. I like that. Nice piece.
There's a piece of tape on the back, obviously. So
Your microphone's way far away from you now.
it is.
Now you're closer.
It's I switched over to my internal mic, and that's the
Your infernal mic.
my infernal mic. Yes.
We're just saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's, I think, pretty much all we got. I'm going to continue plugging on this, and I should have a lot of this stuff. This is going to take some time because there's console panels here. So,
Sweet.
Brent likes it. So, the consoles before, on the bottom of the cockpit took some time because I had to come up with widgets and circles and buttons to make it look space agey. Originally, I was going to be seriously, like each button, know exactly what each button did and stuff like that. And I've come to the conclusion that I'm just not going to do that anymore, because really that was becoming a forest for trees moment, as Brent continues to talk about, and he's not wrong. It was becoming a forest for trees. I was so caught up in figuring out what all these buttons were, and I'm downloading, console boards from 737s and and Airbus planes to find all the little widgets and dots, and figuring out what they. And I was like, you know what, it's going to be 500 years from now. Nobody's going to have the same widgets and dots. It's not going to be buttons the same way, and I am spending way too much time trying to figure that out. So I gave up on that. For good reason, I gave up on that. And so now I'm back to just making the consoles look sufficiently widgety and dottedy. Make them look sufficiently like they've got enough beeps and burbles all over them to do the things. So
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, at least
so put this console on, then I'm going to do a roof. The roof isn't going to take any time because all I need to do is just put lights in it, light fixtures down the row, and that should be done. And then I've got to do that back section, and then this will be done. But I have nothing else really to do today until 8 o'clock tonight, so I'm just going to keep plugging.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
All right.
And
we'll you have fun.
Finish this up. But I knew that I'm going to use this shuttlecraft a lot. So doing it right the first time is good, because there's a call for this set in the first comic. My first comic calls for, and I actually was not going to build this and then just cut it out of the first comic, but that made it, the main ship searches through a city's rubble. And I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, that's going to be so brutal. I was like, I didn't want to do that. So anyway. Okay. It's 11 to 1. I'm going to go get lunch. Lunch sounds good. Thanks for joining me today, my friend. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm just happy to be here. I'm
Well,
like super tired. I'm sorry. I haven't been getting good sleep. So
I didn't sleep well the night before last. Then last night I slept like 7 whole hours. So
yeah.
that's a lot of sleep for me. So, and I'll take a 1 hour nap, and that'll bring me up to 8 hours for the day, and I'll be amazed. Amazed, I tell you, amazed. So rest well, my friend. Go take a nap. That might be a good thing. A nap
I
might be
could, but now I have to go
do a
respond
thing.
to people.
Yeah, you got to do things.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us today, Donald. Thanks for I got to 3D print it. That is totally, that is exactly what Brent's after. Actually, the wash and cure machine is on sale right now for $110, and the wife and I are discussing whether we should devote some of the tax refund to it, and we might, because washing them and curing them is becoming kind of a pain in the buttonium. So, but if we had a wash and cure machine sitting to the left of it there and just washed stuff and cured stuff after it was printed, it'd be much better. So, okay, I will talk to all of you people later. I'll see you on Friday or tomorrow if you wish to join me as well. You can obviously always join me.
Most likely Friday. I want to try to get some stuff done.
But you may not be here for tomorrow if you don't want to, and that is totally okay. I'll see you Friday. And Donald and Brent, I will see you tomorrow if you wish to join me as well. And for everybody else, remember to keep your eyes on the stars. Bye-bye. Computer, good night.